You don't even have Audacity open? Come on, Zach. I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're out of seconds.
1.5. Wait, no. Half.
Welcome to the Forum Thread Podcast. You can tweet at us at the Forum Thread at any time during this podcast. I am Huidabra, and here with me tonight I have Wubwave.
Don't use that.
I'm
Chaos Man.
You are still dark, regardless of what the
We're going
translation
by
of dark. You can still introduce your name as dark.
I never introduced myself as Dark.
You do now.
You do now.
Formerly known as Dark One Dry. I have...
The artist formerly known as...
If you're interested in why I've changed the name, there is a journal, so whoever does this can post it in the link dump if they want. Anyway, that was Wubwave. Next on our list we have Chaos Mana.
Hello.
And Zap45.
Yo!
Yes, it's a nice, small, cozy podcast here tonight. And to get started, I know we had we talked about talking about a couple different things, but I kind of wanted to talk about Nintendo's new YouTube policy.
Okay.
Are we down for that?
Yeah, I'm totally cool. I've read the whole entire agreement
Zach
because
was
me
reading
and Chaos
through
were
the
previously talking
fine
about
print
it.
details, or a little bit earlier. There's a lot of
Yeah,
of
so
different
I'm pretty
things.
read up on it.
Yeah. So testing the water earlier, before we started recording this, it sounded like you guys were more along the lines of, it's okay. What's your take on it? Or at least, you want to explain exactly what it is? Anybody know exactly what it is?
Sure, yeah, I can go into explaining what it is exactly. So Nintendo's like, instead of blacklisting your videos or, shooting them to hell because we're Nintendo, we've set up a program where if
hold on.
you...
Basically, Nintendo, whenever it comes to YouTube content of their videos, songs, or characters, really cracks down hard on the YouTubers that produce it, even if it's like
Copyright
good, friendly videos,
laws.
like promoting their stuff. They like put copyright strikes on your videos, try to get them taken down because it's Nintendo's property.
Well,
Yeah, it's been good for a while.
not relatively recently. A couple months ago, they changed it to where they're just like, we'll just take the money from it. You can keep it up. You just can't do cutscenes and some other stuff.
and basically that's what the affiliate program is now, is where they set it up so where if you adhere to their rules, then you can use basically a lot of their intellectual property when it comes to not only their characters but their music and even like sound effects and stuff like that. Like in the affiliate program itself, it talks about what you can use if you're signed up with the affiliate program. So, there's a wide range when it comes to that. That's cool and everything, but for channels who make money and use this money for
it's a rather large chunk. Like if you're making it passively, it's one thing, but if it's your entire content and you want to start doing a lot of like Nintendo videos, like your community is like, oh yes, do this video, play this game, but it's like all Nintendo based. If you try to be with that program, that would take a significant cut out of your profits.
Yeah. And in particular, it's 70% if you sign up. You get to keep 70% if you sign up as a channel to the affiliate program, and it's 60% if you sign up individual videos. And then there's also an approval process it'll take anywhere to 2 to 3 days to get the video approved.
All right, so...
Do they blacklist the video if you don't have it signed up?
Yes.
Or do they just take the revenue like they did in the old system?
I wasn't aware that they just take the revenue, but I guess now they don't take all of the revenue. And with the old system, they only take whatever YouTube isn't taking. And to be honest, the ad revenue, it's not a whole lot of money. Like, I highly doubt that YouTubers are making their bulk of their income through ad revenue.
Well, they are making the bulk of the avenue. Like, Game Grumps, the reason they're able to do it, they each have a separate channel. Like that's also making the ad revenue in
Yeah.
addition to game grumps themselves. They're not going to be
I don't
rich, millionaires or anything like that, but at the same time they're able to support themselves and pay their bills, put bread on the table, quote unquote, with just the YouTube money alone.
It's just, I mean, I'm not saying YouTube isn't making the YouTubers money. I'm just saying, like, it's very hard to make a decent living. So, like, you have to be on the Game Grumps level.
Could you not?
Nice. Or like on a PewDiePie level in order to see, like, huge, vast amount of money or more than just barely paying the bills.
Yeah, you have to have a lot of subscribers in order for the ad revenue to actually be able to pay for your living.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is if you're going to register per video, you will only get 60% of the ad revenue profits, meaning Nintendo gets 40%. If you register your entire channel with Nintendo,
you get 70.
then you get 70% of your ad revenue, but and Nintendo will get 30%.
Yes. Well, and the ad revenue, I'm not sure if there's also, like, I thought YouTube got to keep some as well, so I'm not sure if that's figured into the percentage.
I think it's
or
after,
it's after.
YouTube takes
Yeah,
their
they
cut.
take their cut,
YouTube
and
gets their
then the YouTuber gets their cut,
I
and
think
then...
that, like, working through the AdSense accounts that you have to file with it, YouTube will always, still getting it. I don't think it has really anything to do with how YouTube gets their money. It'll just be, like, the money
okay.
that's about to go to you will then go through another filter.
Before it gets to you. Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
And
So here's the part that I do have a problem with.
Most certainly, go ahead.
This new policy that Nintendo has. From what I understand, you can only upload video from specific games that are on a list of approved games from Nintendo. And you're not allowed to use content from games that they don't exclusively permit. So fundamentally what this means is that they have control over the content of your channel. While they not only get the advertising, get a percentage of the advertisement revenue, which steals from your profit, but they also get free advertising for their products from your profile.
Plus they get some people feel like they're getting a creative say in their when it comes to what they create as content. Yeah, I get that point.
So,
but
and I've always had a problem with this idea in general, and here's why. So, you have certain companies like there's this particular company, Devolver Digital. They own the rights to Serious Sam, Shadow Warriors, the Talos Principle, and this new game called Broforce. They will let any YouTuber put any bit of their games on YouTube. Will not ask for any of the profit. And they're just satisfied with the amount of free advertising that the YouTube community is able to create for them using this. So, if you...
a lot of indie developers are cool like that.
Yeah, and that's...
Like, I know the guys who did Payday, when a long time ago, when the Creechos did their first Let's Plays in the game, like, one of the guys told a joke about the toothbrush looks gigantic, and then in, like, the next update, they made a giant toothbrush in that room.
Yeah, exactly.
And... yeah, it's just silly. Like.
So, and here's fundamentally where I have the problem with it. So, what these YouTube channels are doing, this is where it's different than film, is that by doing a Let's Play, which a lot of people like to watch, and a lot of people actually watch before going out and purchasing the game themselves, is these channels are actually producing free advertising for video games. If it's a shitty video game, well, then it sucks for the developer that you shouldn't have put a shitty game out to begin with.
Sometimes that also works as advertising. For example, Flappy Bird.
Yeah, because some people will buy it just because it's a shitty game.
Just like when people watch a movie because it's shitty,
Birdemic.
They like to,
And this is the thing, though. Advertising typically is paid for. If you look at the budget for Destiny, a huge chunk of that budget was spent on advertising. And what the YouTube channels are doing are actually providing free advertising for these companies and their video games. So not only are these YouTube channels providing free advertising, which would be enormously expensive, but now they're actually asking the YouTube players to pay to advertise for them.
Gotcha.
So that's where I fundamentally have a problem with this whole setup.
I completely understand that particular argument when it comes to the whole affiliate program, but from what I read, the only reason when it comes to the content limiting of what games you can have or what games you can't have on the actual channel or videos that you do, it's not actually based off of any particular, from what I read in the legal speak anyway, and translated the best I could on my own, was they didn't specifically say it's because they want to control what content you produce. They
well, of course they wouldn't say that because that sounds terrible.
Yeah, they said like a third party licensing, like they produce the game or they publish the game, but they're not the creator of the game. They have no control over that. So legally, they have to guard themselves in case if the third party game that they publish wants to sue them because they didn't get authorization from the third party. And that in particular is where that's referenced, is the content blocking. Now, to play the devil's advocate, when it comes to the advertising of the games and the free advertising YouTubers will produce by doing their own Let's Play series or their own review series or what have you, the counter argument is that because YouTube is so vast, a lot of people who don't who don't have a large following, or who do have a large following and are completely foul-mouthed and, maybe bigoted or what have you, they're now displaying YouTube content on their channel, and it's reflecting Nintendo poorly. So, they have...
That argument doesn't have base, because if it's something that's reflecting, like, their game, like, if their game is actually bad, then it's a bad game. If it's just YouTube being... No, hold on. If it's just the YouTube being vulgar, that's them. That won't reflect directly on the Nintendo.
Sure. To most normal people, but what I'm talking about in particular...
Nintendo's always been really protective of that kind of stuff. Like... I watched the Did You Know Gaming today about Super Smash. You can't use a Mii Fighter in online because they are afraid that it could cause cyberbullying.
Well, my point was, my point was, Dark, is not... I understand that the validity of your counter-argument to my current counter-argument. However, it's not us going up against Nintendo and being stupid. It's the moms of these kids who randomly walk in and they see... Timmy watching some vulgar fuck saying, all these nasty things while playing Nintendo games, and then who gets mad at Nintendo but isn't competent enough to know that it's the YouTuber's fault?
No, I don't buy that argument.
The common public is always going to be a problem, but it more so doesn't have... Well, no, it doesn't have anything to do with Nintendo. The reason Nintendo is like Nintendo is to be the Japan... Is that kind of Japan, like, this is coming from Gaijin Yuba, who explained it good. Japan is so, closed off. It doesn't really have, pay much attention in Nintendo because of that. It doesn't pay as much attention to the outside world, so they don't, some of their things don't reflect it. That's why in one of the most recent DS games, that Something World, they didn't allow homosexual relationships at all. And it was just like a big thing. That...
Yeah, well, again, it's because Nintendo has this image of being a family-friendly company, and it's always sort of been like that. So it's not the backlash now; it's the potential backlash.
Now, see, I'm going to disagree with you right here, because I'm going to say I have a Wii U, and when I boot up my console, I have an advertisement for since I got it anyway. I haven't had it for that long, but since I got it, I've had an advertisement for Bayonetta showing cleavage and all that right there on my main menu. So it's not about Nintendo trying to preserve a sense of family friendliness, because when you boot the system up and the very first thing you see is Bayonetta doing that facial expression with her lips like she's getting ready to have an orgasm with her tits popping out. Clearly, that's not going to be family oriented. And if you look at why people actually subscribe to these different channels, they're not subscribing so much for the content. Like, they're subscribing for the personalities.
Yeah.
And actually we're seeing several personalities since Nintendo has announced this that say they're not even going to cover Nintendo games at all. They're just excluding Nintendo completely from their roster because they don't want to deal with this, because they know that their subscribers are not based off of what their actual
games they're playing.
The video games they're playing, but it's the content they're creating with their own personality. And that's what people are subscribed to. They're not subscribed to PewDiePie's channel because he reviews Nintendo. They're subscribed to PewDiePie because they like what he does. They like his
they like that silly
crazy
voice. They
sense
like
of
the way
humor.
he
Again, I was playing the devil's advocate, and
I know, and this is my counter argument to you playing the devil's
definitely,
advocate.
Definitely,
It just doesn't make it doesn't make logical sense. Like they can say that from a PR point of view, but if you think about it, it does not actually make any sense.
And that's again the only reason my counter argument has any validity is because although it doesn't make any sense, and a lot of us internet savvy people completely understand where you're coming from and agree with you, the people who we have to worry about are the wannabe social justice warriors and the moms with their blogs and the stereotypical people who will take up arms against video games because Timmy saw some boob cleavage, or that because Timmy saw
Timmy sees boob cleavage every time he boots up his Wii U. Remember?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen that ad
God,
in forever.
hopefully soccer moms don't find Bayonetta.
Yeah,
jail.
that's my point.
So now let me ask you this question: if it were EA that was doing this instead of Nintendo,
well, fuck EA.
Would we feel the same way about this?
I remember when Rockstar did it when Red Dead Redemption came out. They said you can't show any cutscenes, so we're going to take down the video. And then, like a year later,
they did the same. Or the company did the same thing with the cutscenes for L.A. Noire.
See, I'll be honest. A part of me thinks that the whole reason Nintendo is doing this is because they're still trying to make up for the losses they suffered from the Wii U launch.
Maybe, yeah.
They're trying to figure out what the change, like they discovered that they can't keep being as closed off, and they have to open up to like the current YouTube community, and this is one of the steps.
The format.
The funny thing that I wanted
to change
say
the format
about the actual program itself, and one of the major flaws is that, say, a lot more YouTubers were all like, yeah, this is a good idea, this is a good program, let's keep submitting our videos. The tweet just a little bit ago from Gaijin Goomba showed him like staring at a computer screen, and it says that it was a news report that there was too many submissions to the Nintendo program for them to handle.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is that because YouTube is so vast and everyone's trying to make a living or doing it for a hobby, there's
it doesn't mean it'll
there's 24 hours of footage being uploaded every hour.
It's
basically
trying to scan through all the videos and do it fairly is either going to be extremely like quick and biased because they're going to be like, oh wait, it's this video, done, or it's going to take such a backlog that it kind of defeats the purpose of the program.
They're trying. I mean, the previous program was that they would take all the income, and then the one before that was that they would just shut down videos. At least they're trying to get YouTubers on board with this. It's obviously not the best plan, but
with
trying.
this,
okay, so
it's probably going to fail.
Let me ask you guys one more question then regarding this.
Sure.
This is fun. This is the main reason why I'm a little ruffled about this whole situation. So Nintendo is setting a precedent here, which means that other companies are going to start following suit.
No.
I mean, maybe.
Here's why. Rockstar did it with Red Dead Redemption. Like, that was the whole thing. Is when no one could YouTube Red Dead Redemption.
But now Nintendo's doing it, though.
Cutscenes.
Nintendo has a lot more power than Rockstar.
But Rockstar... I know, but Rockstar also said, yeah, it's not working, so we're just giving up on it.
No.
Nintendo's going to learn the lesson that Rockstar did.
So I have the reason that it's not happening is because this is basically essentially every other video game company is already open with their stuff. Nintendo, on the other hand, is closed with their content, and now with this program, they're getting a little bit more open to it, but they're still remaining closed. It's not like they adapted closed content.
Okay,
exactly. They're moving
forward
more closed
to meet up with the rest of the companies.
They're just doing it poorly.
Okay, so
yeah.
So let me finish my question to you guys then. So Nintendo is setting a precedence for this. They're saying, okay, they're working under the guise that they're going to work with the YouTube community, saying we're only going to take 30 to 40% of your ad revenue on select games that we approve for your channels to stream. So once
long as they're not
Nintendo has
party,
had over, like
developing.
as you just said, they've been flooded with people that have been signing up for this product or this program. So now we're going to have companies like Ubisoft and EA taking note of this, saying, "Oh, look what Nintendo's doing. They're They're working with the public. They're controlling the content that's allowed on these YouTube channels. They have a blacklist of games, and they have the games that are formerly approved, like Mario Kart 8, for streaming. Let's do the same thing and also make a list of games that are approved to be put on YouTube, games that are not approved to be put on YouTube, and also take a chunk of everybody's streaming money. So is this the world that we want to actually live in?
Well,
this
no,
particular
but it's not the
setup?
world that's going to happen. Here's why. Like, YouTubers, they can choose what games they play, like we said. It's the personality, not the content. If EA and Ubisoft say, if every big game company out there says, we're going to do this, every small indie game company is going to go, yeah, you can stream our stuff. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, you can stream our stuff. We're going to see a lot more indie games on
Yeah.
YouTube is what's
That's
gonna happen.
that's already happened. Like Markiplier, over half of his content is not
more
mainstream games. It's the most random site games. Like recently, he was doing
Like
a
a Flash
couple
game.
like Armor Flash games, and
Space
having just as
Engineers
much fun.
has, like, in their social media, they link the YouTuber Last 10 Gamers a couple times, who does, like, almost exclusively Space Engineers.
one of my favorite interactions is the achievement that you can get for Surgeon Simulator when you throw the heart against the wall, and it's the achievement called "Like a Wet Paper Towel" after Michael from Achievement Hunter's quote.
Yeah, and
Yeah. If they do change, if big companies do
It's
do
gonna
that,
fail quickly.
all we're going to see is indie games moving in to take up the slack. And I think that's why early development games or early access games have gotten so popular recently. It's because of the fact that YouTubers will play them early and people will go out and buy them.
Yeah, another thing that I want to interject when it comes to this whole scenario or situation that you're presenting, Dark, is that maybe EA and AAA game publishers are taking a look and seeing what's going to happen, but if this fails, they're not going to follow with the precedent.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing quite as well, at least from the outside viewpoint. It doesn't seem to be doing, like, the program isn't excelling wonderfully. Like, there's already YouTubers that are like, that's it, we don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, fuck this,
program.
and we're
Some
done.
are, but as you said, they're already their website is already taxed to overcapacity because they've had so many applications.
They have so many, but that's not. It might not exactly reflect.
I know,
the
it's still way
majority.
too early
Like,
to tell.
If everyone
Yeah,
was
it's
on
still
board,
pretty
it'd be
early
like
to tell,
twice
but
as
here's my
much.
prediction. They're going to faff with this, they're going to mess with this for maybe 2 or 3
They're gonna
months.
faff about.
But when the uploader keeps breaking, or they're having all these different issues approving all these videos, they're going to rework the program. It's either they're going to cancel the program, or they're going to rework the program to where the affiliate, you don't have to you don't have to use the trigger warning, and they'll take less profit, or they'll just basically do like everyone else has been doing and just give you full reign or access to the game, like all the other AAA titles, like Ubisoft and EA and fucking 343 and all these other huge like game developers. When it comes to just letting us play the games and doing what we want with the content as a YouTuber or as YouTubers. So, I mean, they're going to, 1, learn this lesson and recover, or 2, try again with a different system.
And even if it does work, you're not going to see too much of an impact, I don't think. Like, even if Assassin's Creed Unity, or the next Assassin's Creed, you have to be partnered with Ubisoft, it's probably not going to matter because everything else will take up the slack.
Yeah.
It's not like there's going to be no more Let's Plays ever. It's just going to be they're going to playing
and if
games.
anything, it'll punish the companies thinking that they can
Exactly.
they can. I mean, at the same time, it's understandable. They spend a lot of, some companies in particular, not all of them, because they've fucked up quite a bit last year, so it's kind of hard to forgive them. But currently, there are a few companies who work really, really hard to make video games, and they hire all these different people. And there's a percentage of the population that just pirates the video game, and then there's a percentage of the people who play it for a little bit and sell it back. And there's just all this hard work that gets shat on by so many different people. So I can understand why they're trying to make it a clear line of, hey, let's try to work together. But I mean, it's Nintendo. They're making a step in the right direction comparatively to just shooting instead of shooting first and asking questions later, or just shooting and walking away, they're now like they holstered their gun and like, oh, let's talk for a bit before I kill you. You know, like it's not as bad as everyone's
Now they're
making
just
it.
mugging you instead of killing.
Exactly. Now they're just mugging you.
Progress.
Progress.
Yeah, they're like, here, give me 30 or 40% of the money that you're making here, and I'll allow it to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys have such a positive outlook on the potential outcome for all of this. I'm predicting a slightly grimmer future just because my hope in humanity has slipped a little bit farther than your guys's. But I hope your predictions
at the same
are,
time,
are
I don't see
more
you as a
accurate than
man
my
that
own.
watches many Let's Plays. So that might also be one of the reasons it looks a little different. Because, like, for example, you don't watch a lot of Achievement Hunter. I don't know what you do on your free time, quite obviously, but I don't think that you're watching, like, Game Grumps or something like that.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Wink.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
No, yeah. So I'm sort of the in-house optimistic, and I read the whole entire, fucking 20 pages. It's like more like 2 pages of the affiliate program, legal speak. So the positivity of you being able to use the music and the sound effects when it comes to editing is a really cool aspect to it. And and besides the point, since now as YouTubers on our side, we don't make any money, so the videos that we would be putting up would be non-monetized anyway. So even if
Exactly, that's also another thing. It's like, oh, you have to partner with us to monetize your videos.
Well, then don't monetize.
Oh, we'll just sell T-shirts. Yeah, we'll just sell T-shirts or start a Patreon.
Yeah, exactly. Then just don't monetize. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Run your own ads from sponsors you get. Don't monetize through YouTube or AdSense, or stick a support me sign or link that they have on YouTube now, and link your PayPal, and there you go. And I mean,
exactly. Nature will find a way.
Exactly. Yeah.
The quote is life will
What
find
way
a way.
will find a way?
I know, this is my own quote. It's nature.
Yeah.
Don't use it in YouTube videos. I'll take 40%.
So let's transition
move on,
away from this. Let's transition away from this. I know before we started this, Zach, you said you were wanting to one, that you were feeling saucy, and two, you wanted to talk about Bethesda hosting E3.
Oh yeah, so I'm a little salty, I'm a little sassy, I'm a little upset because I've had some.
That's neither of the two words. Not those two words are neither of the words that I use. I said saucy.
Saucy. Okay,
Saucy.
I'm all of those things right now, Dark, because I'm
okay.
I just had some issues with videos, and it's been a busy day. But anyway,
you're allowed to be saucy.
Zach,
you're not allowed to be salty.
Fair enough.
Have you ever used a film SLO before? Like a film, and then developed
Oh,
the
God,
film?
That
no.
sounds terrible. Why would you do that?
Well, because he's talking about like editing a video and it being blurry. You don't know the pain of spending 4 hours developing film only to realize this was out of
I'm
focus.
lucky, but first world problems, right? So that's what I'm complaining about. But anyway, my one light of hope today is E3, and it's being hosted by Bethesda, and hopefully they release Fallout 4. The hype is real.
Well, they did mention, I was going to say Skyrim 6, but that is not the name of the
No.
Elder Scrolls.
It is the Elder Scrolls 6.
I would love to play that game. That
Yeah.
would make me so happy to play, especially after this disappointment that happened with ESO. Like, it might be better. I'm still going to go back and play that, but overall, it was a disappointment.
Well, I doubt that it.
What if they released a Fallout and an Elder Scrolls in the same
Oh
year?
damn!
I would want it to be like an Easter egg. Like if you had both, there would be a secret house where you could go and time travel, and it would turn out that Elder Scrolls was Fallout in the past.
You unlock Mewtwo.
You see like the Dragonborn skeleton, like he's wearing his helmet and everything.
Yeah. It'd be at least there's like nods to each of the games.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And the other one.
Well,
I mean, in one of the previous Fallouts, there was as like the Wild Wasteland type perk of a time machine that you could go in and go back to the first Fallout game.
yeah.
It'd be fun if they had one that sends you back to the Elder Scrolls.
That would be pretty interesting. But the reason why people are saying it's not going to be Elder Scrolls 6 is because ESO is yet to come to the console, and because they're focusing on coming. Maybe they'll talk about more of the features of the console release. They'll talk more about the free to play during March. I'm sure that's they'll talk about it during their E3 conference because they're hosting the whole event. But because it's the idea is because that's already being handled, like the Elder Scrolls front is already being handled. There, a lot of people like to know.
Yeah, they have a completely different studio that develops Elder Scrolls versus the Elder Scrolls Online. Those are two separate teams.
True, and they're both different experiences, but at the same time, it's still, relatively the same front. So they'd probably, a lot of people's theories are that they're gonna focus on some type of big announcement for Fallout 4 with some peppers of maybe Dishonored 2 and some stuff like that. But
yeah, that's what
I was just about to say, like, what if like the only thing they announce is like, oh, Dishonored 2, and everyone just
I would fucking rage quit so hard.
I liked Dishonored.
No, Dishonored's good.
Well, Dishonored is a good game, but when they're hyping games that rarely have sequels now, like the last one was back in 2012 with Skyrim.
Or Rage
or not even
2011.
2011.
Yeah.
Skyrim came out in 2011?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know it because Tobuscus's commercial, he went 11111.
I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Oh, yeah.
But damn. Yeah, no.
When did Fallout New Vegas
Damn.
come out? Jeez, that was before that.
Yeah.
Fallout New Vegas came out in 2010.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so that's why we're all hoping for the Fallout 4, and I'm looking forward to it because I loved Fallout 3.
Fallout Tactics 3.
Oh
please.
God, no.
You all know that I wasn't a big fan of Fallout, so I can't
I'm
share the same
ashamed.
enthusiasm with you.
I think
I'm glad you're excited, though. I'm
Dark, how
super
could you?
glad you're excited.
I think it's just do you prefer the fantasy world comparatively to like the grungy,
Post-apocalyptic
steampunky,
world?
post-apocalyptic sci-fi world?
I'm fine with steampunky. The post-apocalyptic thing, it's just so the whole thing was just such a it was ugly to look at, just ugly. And then the characters, that was the problem. Okay, with Skyrim, Skyrim and Oblivion both had characters that stared at you unblinkingly, like straight through your soul as they delivered their dialogue. And it was kind of weird, but you could forgive that with the open world exploration and all the really cool, really pretty places to go. I thought it was a really gorgeous game. But then switching to Fallout, it has Fallout
gray.
3 had the same issue where everyone stares at you with those soulless eyes as they deliver their lines. And then you look at the world to explore, and it's just a giant shithole. And I had no interest in... I mean, the world itself was kind of interesting. I played probably 25 hours worth, but I put it down, and then I had no desire to pick it back up again. Just because the world was just like not a place I wanted to spend time in.
I really think you should try to pick up New
play any of the
Vegas.
DLCs?
You should try to pick up New Vegas because they have so many different, like, it's a desert, it's Nevada, they're like mountains, and it's very picturesque. Like, I think you'll like that more location-wise.
If you get New Vegas for PC, I have an encyclopedia of mods to install.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Why does that not surprise me
make the
that you
game
would have that many
beautiful.
mods?
They make the game beautiful though. Like I did a video recently with some texture updates. Actually, I fixed the reason why one of the characters' eyes, like the irises, were to the side of her pupil. It was really weird. I actually fixed that, but it makes it look amazingly beautiful. And this is awesome that mods continue to make a game last 5 years after development. But yeah, New Vegas was a lot prettier than
Fallout 3.
Fallout
5 years.
Retrospectively,
Think about the Skywind project. How long ago was Morrowind released?
yeah,
And now people are going to be playing it again because of that.
it's gonna be
And
that's gonna be pretty cool.
awesome.
That's something where I think that Bethesda has kind of dropped the ball when they have a group of independent people putting together a updated version of an old game. Like, it would be so easy for Bethesda to just be like, okay, look, we're gonna re-release Morrowind with voice acting, with the Skyrim game
With
engine.
voice acting, when they only said
Listen,
one line
I
the
love-
entire time, like Outlander or whatever, just over and over.
Oh no, they also would scream, "Die, Thector!"
Yeah, but like in general chat, just the same.
Or now you die. That was another one.
Like you could sum up all the lines that characters say to you in one page.
It'd be cool
Well,
if they did a
the beginning-
remaster release for Morrowind and Elder Scrolls, because those games are hella old. Like Elder
Yeah, I know,
Scrolls is going to be
seriously.
like 10 years. Elder Scrolls Oblivion is going to be 10 years during March. I did a journal about what I would like to see if they remastered it, and it's kind of detailed and nerdy, but
Listen, I love Bethesda, but they are the laziest fucks. They use the same engine for both games. Like, you could literally use the same console commands from Elder Scrolls to Fallout and vice versa.
It was the same game.
For 90% of the stuff. That being said, that would be cool if they actually picked up the ball and started doing stuff like that.
I know, like,
but I doubt
it. Yeah, it would be so easy. Like, 343 did it. It did the remastering of the Halo games, the first one and now the second one. And it was something that all the fans really wanted because no one wants to play a standard definition game on a high definition TV without voice acting. Because that shit looks really ugly. So, one, it's something the fans really want. Two, it would require like minimal effort on their part. You know, they wouldn't have to develop anything. They just have to graphically update it and
with
get some,
with certain
the voice actors.
engines. I just thought about it when actually making the game. It's sometimes not very easy, especially if the game was made on a completely separate engine, to just port it over. It might involve literally remaking the world.
Also, 90% of the cutscenes are in-game engine.
But then again, I point to the Skywind project. And how just a group of independent people are putting this together, and the only reason why it's not actually out for people to play is because they're trying to recruit all the voice actors to record all of the lines of dialogue that all the NPCs play. All the graphical fidelity is there. They were able to port the Elder Scrolls 3 game in using the game engine of the Elder Scrolls
Skyrim
5 game. Yeah, they were able to do it. So all they would really need to do is just do what they're doing, use the voice actors they already have, and record the dialogue. Yeah, it could make it look more pretty if they wanted to, but hell, people would still buy it if they just took the lazy way out. And just
buy the independent group, because I'm sure that's cheaper.
That'd be
and
awesome.
Supply
if,
what they need
Elder
and
Scrolls
then
was
get it done
you
fast.
guys got a good thing going here. Here, we'll submit some funds to hire some voice actors.
Here's the money.
Go free.
But you see where I'm saying, where they really dropped the ball. They could have made a lot of money off of a simple project like that.
But at the same time,
I mean, 99% of the cutscenes are also done.
Yeah, seriously, it would have been so easy, and all of us here, I'm sure, would have bought it because we all want to play Morrowind again with high definition graphics,
awesome
with voice acting.
To hear voice acting, because the only thing that the most interactive scenes was like the intro scene and stuff like that.
Yeah, where the guy's like, you were shaking. Yeah, the storm last night couldn't wake you. And then the guy with the screechy voice asking you what your sign was.
Yes, now we need to go sign these papers.
Like, oh, I'm sure you'll fit right in. Yeah, I'm sure I will too. Right after I steal this shit under your eyes. And then he calls the guards, and the guards are like, oh, well, you're new. We'll just let you get away with this for now. Just don't steal anything else.
I did like the Morrowind thing where you could just kill the guards and it'd be fine.
Well, it wasn't really fine. You'd get a fine.
Well, it would if you killed in certain ways, it was good because.
Oh, if it was in self-defense.
Yeah. When you're a criminal in Oblivion, you're somehow known across the world for doing stuff. But like at least in Skyrim, if you don't have any witnesses, it's like okay.
I'd say my favorite moment in Morrowind was because you have to steal everything as much as you can get away with.
Everything in Morrowind.
This one instance where I was not trying to steal something. I was in a shop and I was turning around and I clicked the button and the A button and I accidentally stole someone's pillow. And then it was this Dunmer chick in Balmora. And the next thing I hear is, now you die! And I'm like, what the hell? All I did was steal your pillow. And so, I put the pillow back down on her bed, and she still beat the shit out of me with whatever weapon she had hidden in her shirt. I'm like, but I absolutely loved that. Because I stole her pillow. She was going to exercise her rights and just murder me.
It's like in Fallout, if you, picked up,
a bottle cap,
a piece of, an empty tin can, and it'll just, blow your head off with a shotgun. And you're like, why? I know it's the post-apocalypse, but come on, resources aren't that scarce. I found a million of these.
Yeah,
before.
It'll say red or orange
but
or whatever.
There are many like it, but that one is his.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
do you know what movie that's from, Chaos, by the way?
No.
Thought
I
that's my
didn't
only
know that
response.
was from a
Oh.
movie. I thought that was like an actual like army.
I thought it was like a book or something. I don't know. But when it comes to the
You know what I
setting
miss?
of the next
What?
Elder Scrolls game, I heard and saw like some like very like late articles, like I want to say 4 or 5 months ago, about Bethesda maybe talking about Orgonia, like that whole land, like the Black Marsh.
I read
and that
those
particular.
articles too.
Oh,
Do you,
yeah.
do you
the
think that'd be
Argonian
an
land.
interesting setting to go and explore? I think it'd be
I
pretty
do,
cool.
especially on with the next generation consoles. What they'd be able to do with all the water and
Yeah.
the foliage, especially because
The
that's something that I
swamplands as
think
well. Yeah.
I think that's the reason they intentionally kept away from the really thick, lush, like wildlands like that. Because you can do a bunch of trees all stuck together really closely, and
A whole bunch of rocks and mountains and
the 2D
stuff.
grass kind of
Yeah.
blowing around to kind of give the illusion of like a forest of sorts. But it definitely does not feel like an untamed wild wilderness. Like the technology just was not there in past generations. So I think that they really could pull that off, and it could be really awesome.
Yeah.
With the current generation technology.
I would also like to
and I
see
hope they.
the Arcania, or what are they?
Elf
No, they're
Blades?
the Blades. What are they? What's their culture? The
Oh, Redguard.
it starts with an no. The blade.
Hammerfall?
The Blades have like they got their culture and their weapons from like an eastern country within.
Oh,
Albion?
the Albion.
I thought the
Alkari
Blades
or
was a
something?
group of mercenaries.
No,
I didn't think that they
In
were.
Elder
Runeterra?
Scrolls Oblivion, they're the King's Guard, but the reason they're the King's Guard and they were awarded the armor and the weapons they wore is their triumphs in the battle of like some type of civil war or something during like the second or first era. This is really nerdy because I read all the books and shit. I'm such a huge nerd. But basically, there are all these different races. They're like dragon races. There's snake races. There's monkey people races. There's snow monkeys. Like there's all these different like it's in this eastern part of the like sort of oriental part of the world of Elder Scrolls in general, which I think would be also a really cool place to go as well. I'm gonna look that up when it comes to.
While you're looking it up, the one thing that I would love to see, and it's something that a game like Pokemon has done with Soul Silver. They have the game. You play through the campaign. You beat the game, beat the champion, and then you can go to the world from the previous game and explore that. And it's like an updated version of future version. If they did that with Elder Scrolls, you could once you beat the main storyline, they could say, hey, we have a boat to Oblivion, Skyrim, or Cyrodiil, Skyrim, or Morrowind. Then you could go explore all of that. That would be amazing.
That's essentially what ESO is gonna be, isn't it?
It is, but it isn't. Like, the world is a lot different since it's a million years in the past or something like that. So it's kind of using that kind of cop out, I guess.
Why do fantasy worlds never advance technology-wise?
Well, if they're
not allowed
constantly
to.
at war, they don't exactly have time to sit back and get science.
No, it's
but
required by
like
law.
the world we live
Lovewife.
in now is entirely at war, like all the time, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I would love to see like a fantasy movie game book that takes place in the present day. Like the military uses dragons and
So Full Metal Alchemist,
it's just like
basically.
kinda, yeah, like Full Metal Alchemist, but even more in the modern day. Like they have the internet.
I'm actually writing a short story that's gonna be something like that.
Oh, pimp that short story.
Internet and dragons.
It's very, very like. I'm sort of making it's going to be set in the fantasy, but it's also going to be modern. But I'm not going to like reveal
Beautiful.
that.
I think Shadowrun.
I'm kind of spoiling it for you guys, but I'm not revealing that until late into the short story. But I'm using very broad terms to describe everything. So like I say, the character's going on a ship, but it's not a boat. It's a
boat,
spaceship.
yeah.
You know, like I'm gonna use those kinds of those terms and that kind of idea, like that, just that mindset, I guess, to like trick the reader into thinking that, you know, they're in this classic fantasy world when they're actually in this really cool modern / fantasy. This is a crazy thing.
And then Bruce Willis will show up. And...
It'll be great.
And he'll be dead at the end.
Spoilers.
I thought we went for a Fifth Element reference. Never mind, I was completely off.
Geography. There we go. I also.
But me and Zach were like gushing over where we'd want to see the next Fallout game,
Yeah.
like Phoenix or Denver.
Austin, Texas,
Or-
and they actually have Rooster Teeth Studios.
Texas was actually in Fallout Oh no, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, I believe.
Ah.
And Chicago was Fallout Tactics.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I would like to see a Fallout game that encompasses the entire continental United States.
Oh god, like it wasn't hard enough to walk.
Fallout SO. However, they'd have
Yep.
to more. How would they do Fallout Online? Just FO.
And they could incorporate some fantasy elements in there, so you could do like in WoW, and you can like ride on the back of a dragon from state to state as the loading
What would be a
screen.
mount? Well, I mean, in Fallout 2, you had a car, and you could drive around.
You had a car.
Yeah, that was like technically like your mount. Like I
I'd
don't know what
rather
a Fallout
have. I'd
mount
rather have
A dragon.
dark
A zombie
version of
dragon.
dragon, and then they actually like get
Wasteland
pissy
dragon.
at you if you use them too often, or if you actually want to ride on top of them versus them carrying you.
Oh, have you guys seen? I'm completely changing topics here slightly, but this
So
reminded
slightly.
me. Have you guys seen the anime Fairy Tale?
No, it's on my list of stuff to watch.
Okay, so what you're talking about with the dragon getting pissy for using them too much. One of the characters, her name is Lucy. She summons zodiac creatures to help her fight, and the Aquarius zodiac is a mermaid, and she is I absolutely love her because she's like the most hardcore bitch of all of her summons, and like when she summons the Aquarius. She appears there and she's like, okay, go forth and kill these people or fight these people for me. And she's like, little girl, do not ever drop my key again. I will kill you personally if you do this. And like the whole time she just absolutely despises this contract that she has with Lucy, her key holder. And so she does wind up fighting for her, but she makes sure that she catches Lucy in the crossfire with this giant wave and almost drowns her, just to try and prove a point. So I could see something like that.
Do you know what that sounds like?
What?
Sounds like she needs to get another gym badge.
Hmm.
People who don't play Pokemon enough will not understand that.
Now my brain
Don't
has
worry about
jumped
it.
somewhere else now that you're talking about Pokemon again. Have you noticed with the new versions of Pokemon that they've turned themselves into Digimon?
Kinda, yeah. Where they're just sort of like, I don't know how to
What do you
describe
mean?
it.
Digivolving?
Yeah, so the fundamental difference between, well, not fundamental, but the big difference between Pokemon and Digimon is that the Pokemon, they had their trainers and they got stronger that way. But in Digimon, the Digimon created like this deep personal emotional bond with their human partner, and so they were able to transform into the next stage. Now with the new versions of Pokemon, the Pokemon do that now.
No, you still just need a stone.
It depends.
don't
Well,
you? You
some
give 'em stone
are.
and make 'em
Some. It
evolve.
depends on what Pokemon it is. Some are like do that type of bond, and they've been that way since the first games. It's if you are friendly enough with your Pokemon, then it will evolve.
Also, there's some that you need to trade them for them to evolve, which never makes any sense. It's like, all right, see you later, loser. I'm going to change for this guy, but not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't actually play the games myself, but my cousin has been playing the new version, and I've just been kind of overhearing all of his comments that he's been making about it. So I thought that was kind of funny. Also, apparently there is a daycare center you can drop your Pokemon off into, and they can get knocked up. It's the most terrible daycare center of all time.
Yeah, it's actually what people do this
To breed,
like the
yeah.
hardcore Zac players will breed Pokemon purposely with these daycare centers over and over just to get the right type
It's like
of
Pokemon eugenics.
the right type of
You know what?
child.
You know what
The
they
perfect
call those?
child.
You know what they call those daycare centers in real life? They're called a brothel.
Yeah.
I thought they were called death camps. You just keep getting the one out, and you just see like, oh, this one works. And then
It's a Spartan-esque,
If-
If it's a weak and sickly Pokemon, they'll just throw it out.
wonder
You
trade.
just leave it there.
You wonder
yeah.
trade
Like,
it.
no one wants this thing.
Yeah, you give it to some other schmuck who's like, oh, this looks like a great Pokemon, but in reality it's not. And it's Alcavari. Akaveri is what I meant to say. Alcavari. It's the sort of, like I said, the Eastern culture to the Western culture of Cyrodiil and Tamriel. It has all these very various different races, and I think that'd also be a great way to introduce all these different and beautiful cultures and races as well if we just completely stop doing the western part and do a eastern
not
part of the
completely
world
stop,
as
'cause that's
well.
kind of what we
Well, not
love.
stop, but the next game is what I meant to say. Is if
Because the Elder Scrolls series has always kind of had its own unique flavor, in and of itself.
Yeah.
Admittedly, they do lean a little bit more on like not modern Western culture, but older Western culture for the most recent games. But I think that's one of the reasons why Morrowind was so well loved. It's because like it's the culture that the Dunmer had. And the style of architecture and everything was very unique
I love
to
running across
the
the ruins.
Elder Scrolls world.
Yeah, it's the Akaveri race. Because it's going to be the
I
same...
always called it Akaveri in my head. I never said it out
Yeah,
loud.
I probably
because
know.
it's
I probably
reading
know what you're
text.
talking
words.
about because I've seen it a bunch of times. I just never tried to say it out loud.
Like,
Yeah.
if you go to the Elder Scrolls wiki, it'll say... I'm just brave enough to say it aloud because I don't care if I make a fool of myself. But anyway, if you go into the Elder Scrolls world, it's like they have these really cool... It's basically like the Argonians, but just times 10. Like, they have a race that live in the like Alps, and they do... like they're monkeys, you know? They like those
They're the
baboons.
abominable snow people.
Yeah, they're like baboons that take steam baths, and they have that culture, and they have like snakes in deserts, and they have like all these various different types of snakes too. It's not just like the common, you know, rattlesnake or your gardener snake or something like that. They have a cobra king snake and all these different various types of people that are that flavor of kinship to the Argonian itself. You know, it has all these various, like, really rich culture of just that Elder Scrolls experience.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, if they could do something like that where they have... I know it would take a lot of time and a lot of development.
Fuck yeah.
Hopefully that's what they're doing, but if
Maybe.
they can actually do that where they have this new world that we haven't really seen before with several unique cultures throughout the world, that would be absolutely amazing. It would definitely
be
make
fantastic.
the world feel one of a kind. Something
definitely.
we've not seen
Maybe
before.
open it up a little bit more. You know, not so rigid with this quest, so you can just like wander or get lost and like, oh yeah, there's this thing that I was told to do about like 2 days ago.
This is something I do hope they fix with the new Elder Scrolls, where you're the one, you're some guy who's chosen to do some huge world-changing thing, and you can just choose to ignore doing this big world-changing thing and go about on your own for years. Like, it keeps track of the time that passed, so you can like spend
Years.
2 years just doing whatever it is you want to do before finally going back to that city that's been burning.
Yeah, postponing the epic battle of taking back a Vatch, or just letting Alduin run his thing.
Like you're about to face Alduin and just like go, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, I really would like to see some sort of solution. And it's not just the Elder Scrolls.
I like
a lot of
that,
the
though.
open world games fall for that problem. Even I can't remember the name, but it's a common problem in these types of open world games. And I would like to see someone come up with a solution to that. So you're not just saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let that city burn for the next year or so while I go do my own thing." It's okay. Time is actually paused there.
There need to be time pressured stuff.
Are you saying you want it to have like timed events, so you only have like 5 days to react to this city event?
No.
I don't.
No.
Listen, you guys don't understand what you're unleashing. If you ever played Fallout 1, there was an 80-day time limit on your first quest. If you fail that, you fail the game.
Well,
You do not want this. I assure you, you do not
You die
want
in the
a
game,
time
you die
limit
for
where
real.
You can lose the game if you
I'm
take
on
too
the-
long.
No.
faffing
I'm
about.
not talking about a timed
Well,
event
then
at all.
how
I
would
think
you
a timed
reflect
event
not
is a
doing
terrible
something
idea.
for a long
but
period of
there-
time without having a time limit?
He wants like real time consequences for just non-abashedly just like roaming the countryside as everything's burning. Like, it'd be cool if
there has
the
to be
environment.
there has to be some sort of middle ground here. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I agree with Webwave. I don't want the game to end or pressured time events. Like, I want to be able to quest on my own time. But I also think it would be a cool idea, or even like a mode you can turn on. That
Like a
doing
realism
certain,
mode,
if not,
so that it would quest
doing
would have
or not
time
doing
limits.
a certain event. Yeah, doing a certain
least
event
have-
or not doing
maybe
a certain
even have a
event affects the
prompt.
environment. Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe even you having a prompt pop up for a particular mission that is going to be time sensitive. So like if you accept this mission, you're going to be on a time limit. So do you want to accept this mission now? And that would give you time to be like, okay, no, I don't want to accept this mission now. I want to go and continue doing whatever it is I was doing first, and then I'll accept this mission.
If they open it up to the player's choice, like if you want to have that realistic experience where you can't really go wandering, you could do that. But like I guess the default one would be the like open world, whatever happens, happens.
Or it could just be the story itself, having a story to tell that doesn't fundamentally disagree with the game engine and the style of game that you're playing. So that's the main problem that Oblivion had. The story that they were telling did not agree with the game that you were playing. Because you were clearly on a time crunch. You had these huge things happening. Oblivion gates popping up all over, cities under siege, and like you could just not do any of it, just put it on hold, and time would literally freeze for however long you wanted to. So the story they were telling did not agree with the game that they were playing, or that you were playing. So I think that they can be a little bit smarter with the way they develop the next game in the series, so that Go ahead, sorry.
I'm so sorry. That's exactly what I was talking about when it comes to like some type of cool integration where it's like if they remade Elder Scrolls, you could turn on a mode like if you don't complete a certain quest within a certain amount of time, these negative things will have an effect, and Kvatch is under siege. Okay, they're taken out. You complete that quest, but then you spend.
Or just have a different ending.
Yeah, basically, it's like
you could have
the option to fail if you're like, okay, I'm going to not go rescue Kvatch.
They kind of do that with
it's fallen.
Whatchamacallit, Mass Effect 2. If you just go faff about with the side quests for too long, then your crew members will die.
Yeah, where all those people die.
Like you wouldn't fail the game, but you would have not the good ending. It wouldn't be all sunshine.
You would have
and people would be pissed at you, like,
loss.
Where were you all this time? What happened? Like, you just disappeared.
Dude.
And for Elder Scrolls, that's forever, because you'll be walking around. It's like the hero of Kvatch.
And then people start getting pissed, like, oh,
just imagine the disappointment.
You're the hero guy.
That's something else I never understood in the Elder Scrolls game. How do all these people learn about you when the only type of
wildfire, man?
When all they have is just like a courier service where a guy can take a letter from city to city,
the courier service would spread the news, but the rate at this time it does pass.
And that's the thing, though. But if you think about it, like, okay, the technology they have, so someone could have drawn a portrait of you in drawing form. But even then, like, people will know, oh, there's a hero of Kvatch, but not everyone is going to instantly be like, oh yeah, that's
maybe
you.
It's because you're usually wearing, like, the Dragonborn or ridiculous armor. Like, they could describe you because you'll be wearing, like, a purple shirt with fire pants.
You could be naked, and they would be like, you're the hero of Kvatch, and then they'd be like,
you're the naked hero of Kvatch.
Like that statue they did. I love this.
Who's that dude wearing dragons? Oh, it must be the hero.
I'm gonna go back to what Wubwave was saying is that Bethesda's just lazy sometimes, and that's
sometimes they're
really
lazy
but really hardworking at the same time. Like they don't put a game out until it's amazing, but at the same time, it's like
absolutely true. But at the same time, they use stuff from
they use a lot of different resources. Maybe they'll just talk about a new engine that they've developed so that they can handle the next 2 or 3 games and how awesome it is, and look at all these cool new features and
Radiant
stuff.
AI 2.0.
It basically.
They have a better police engine so that they don't stab you for attacking. The police will arrive on the scene. The guards will arrive on the scene and arrest the person that attacked you for stealing their pillow.
I would like to see like someone being able to actually pickpocket you, and you being able to turn around and like slice their hand off or something.
So you're being pickpocketed. Your Elder Scroll has been stolen.
or depending on how high your skills are, like if your skill is not high enough to actually like in sneak or something like that, where you don't notice that someone's pickpocketing you, and then like the next time you open up your inventory and you're looking for that one item,
shit's
you're
missing.
Like you have been pickpocketed.
Or like in where you can steal someone's off of them if you are sneaky enough and like fall. And you just like go into battle and you
never
actually
made
hit the
any
third
sense
person
at all.
button and you're like,
well,
oh,
I mean,
fuck,
if you think about if
Yeah,
even though it's not working this way in the game, if you like say if you were really good at illusion magic and you made them think they were still wearing their armor or like off doing whatever, but you were actually like removing their fancy sword or fancy armor.
Oh, that's another thing. I would like magic to be used in other various ways for the next Elder Scrolls game. Like, you could use illusion magic to forge a document. So instead of like being really
that
good
would
at,
be really interesting.
They did
Yeah.
take away
Yeah, I
took
don't
away
know.
a lot of the command magic, which I could using a Morrowind glitch I found, which made some of the command magic infinite. I could just form an army with everyone like falling behind me.
I didn't play much of Elder Scrolls, but are there not prompts like that? Like you need to have a certain skill in conjuring to perform this action.
Well, there's a-
combat?
that
Is
is-
there not a
There's a
system?
system.
there is a
but-
system.
They
Yeah,
they
there
took
is a
out
system for
they
that.
took out
But
certain
you can-
magic
Oh,
skills,
okay.
like they condensed a lot of it into like now you only have the 3 fire spells for destruction and other stuff.
Because like in Fallout, I know you could complete quests a different way by having like 75 medicine or whatever, and you could
They
kill
don't really have
whatever
they don't really have
spaces
that
on the operating
aspect
table.
in Skyrim.
Oh, they should. It's using the same engine, you might as well.
It's because it's the
Don't
same
be
engine, but it's
double
not,
lazy.
the games are not completely identical.
It says they're so lazy they use the same engine and don't use the same
God
properties.
dang it. Well,
Lame.
the one thing I disliked about Skyrim is I liked building like this narrative about my character and having this certain class set up, and I didn't like the fact that I could just not do that and just play however I mean, it was cool because it was freeing because it was easier to do the other quests, like for the Thieves Guild and Brotherhood, because if you weren't a character or your playstyle didn't play to that, overall, in the beginning, you would start out like a noob, and then as you progressed, you got better at those skills, so it became easier. But at the same time, like, if I'm joining a certain guild, it's because I have tailor-made my character for that particular
Well,
guild.
with things
I don't know.
like
I think they
things
should...
like achievements, it's a lot different because you want to get to the champion of everything to feel like you've completed the game.
I would like to see.
Yeah, but
speak.
You should have some exclusivity, like
Yes.
you can't join the Thief Guild and the captain of the
Well,
Royal Guard at the same
In
time.
Morrowind, I think they had a couple situations like that where if you sided with the Televini, you couldn't be a part of another one of the great houses. Like it was one or the
But
other.
I mean, certain things would make it sneaky if you were like secretly a member of the Thieves Guild while being part of the Guardsmen. That'd be a cool like interaction.
Well, I was thinking, like, if you played Fallout New Vegas, there's the thing with the town's notoriety or whatever, where you could, like, there was the one quest right off the bat, we had to choose one town or the other,
Mhm.
and theoretically, if you were sneaky enough, you could kill off the one group that was attacking and still not be vilified by them
Yeah.
immediately. Or you could even go back and start doing stuff for them, and they'll accept you eventually, but there should be a system like that, I would think.
Yeah, these are all very complex things to program, though, and since Bethesda likes to be lazy
But
sometimes,
they already exist. That's the thing. It's like they exist. You can just like copy paste
Well,
that code.
Skyrim, I don't know. Skyrim was, I think, a test or theory on how like streamlined they can get all the
game
controls and the
theory.
character, and like what they can do with the combat system. Like they changed that up a bit, and they
it was
focused
drastically
less.
improved. I thought.
Yeah, it was drastically improved in some aspects
It's
and
improved
other
upon.
aspects.
Well, it's improved upon their own game. Like it's improved
Yeah.
from Morrowind to Oblivion, and things are improved from Oblivion to Skyrim.
I just miss custom spells, man.
Yeah,
From
that was
Oblivion.
a lovely
That was
part.
so fun.
Like I had my super sword, I had my super spells that I could do. Oh, so many things. Like if they could do that. A lot of games when making sequels, they try new things and keep the things that work. So they might take the good parts of Skyrim and then bring back some of the better parts of Oblivion and Morrowind.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, we need to wrap this up. We're just over an hour now.
We don't need to do anything.
Stop right there,
Yes,
criminal
we
scum!
do. Chaos, arrest that man.
I just Foosrodod one chicken, man. I hit
So,
LB once. God.
But that chicken was owned by someone, and now you have destroyed property.
Have you heard any good rumors lately?
How goes it?
Chicken Chaser. That's from the same game, right?
No.
No.
That's Fable. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not even in the same ballpark.
Basically the same thing.
You can't even right now.
All right. So Tejan Lee's not here to do our closing spiel. Would anyone else like to take over for him?
I can do that.
Okay.
Zach, go.
Okay, so you can find us at the forum thread via Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube. You can type in the forum thread and you can go directly to where this podcast is hosted on YouTube, or you can type in TFT Productions and look for our branded channel. We also have gaming stuff. We do TFT Plays. We have a TFT Plays Twitter, and we post TFT Plays stuff via Facebook at the forum thread.
Sexy as hell.
Damn straight. And we also are looking forward to maybe some future projects in the retro gaming series.
We currently have the Doctor Who podcast recorded. We have the awesome cartoons podcast, and we're trying to record some of the other ones.
And on the gameplay aspect, we're looking into another TFT Smash, so look forward to that. I also really briefly would like to pimp out this community project I've been working on in order to honor/tribute Monty Ohm.
Do it, pimp it.
It's the Monty Ohm project, and basically if you have any creative works when it comes to writing, drawing, what have you, painting, sculpting, action fight scene that you recorded with your best bud, but you did it because of Monty Ohm, or you're just did this because of the movie inspired by him, there's a group, and you can make a submission to that group and to that media fire, and the close-off date would be the 20th of February, or if I'm feeling generous because I'm probably going to be doing a lot of the editing, I'll push the close-off or
how about put it on the
further for more submissions.
Saturday.
Yeah, I can do. Yeah, 21st will be the cutoff date for submissions for any creative works that you want to submit to.
Yeah, and if in the middle of editing project, he's not going to be like, no, if you try to submit it then. But at the same time, there is
true.
We want to try to collect as much as we can together for this.
Exactly.
All right, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
May the Dread Father Sidis ever be in your favor.